proportionately to the taxing jurisdictions. None of that money goes to us. We act as a trustee. This was the issue that was litigated by my friend Lee Palmentier. The pilot money goes and is turned over to the taxing jurisdictions. Doesn't, we can't touch it. Now, the issue that was litigated by Lee is the 20% we took with the consent of this legislature, the town, and the school. Because those bodies, excluding you, not to say you didn't, but you approved it also through Carol Stevens. School, we went to the school in the town. They realized when we bought those parks, they were getting maybe $20,000 a year in taxes, maybe I'm wrong, on those 2 pieces of property. They realized to the extent we got those properties done, that they would benefit from that. And if you remember, if you go back to the screen, I didn't really dwell on this. Save-A-Lot and Servant, we were in a competitive disadvantage. We had no Empire Zone. We weren't in the game. Without an Empire Zone, again, we're with Rockland County, Rock, and Green County, the 2 idiots who have nothing. That's how it was. We did those. How we did that was we went across the river to Jerry Symes and got an Empire Zone shift so that we could be competitive. That wasn't in the job description. That was the key to getting those projects in because we had a user, so we had to deliver Empire Zone benefits. So that 20%, the school passed a resolution with full disclosure, town, and this board. That is allowed for future park, infrastructure, green space. That's where that money goes. But that was with the consent. And as long as it's with the consent, and each party has veto rights, it's fine. That's what the court ruled. But the important point, Wayne, is that they saw that a cooperative investment together with us would generate jobs, investment, and taxes. They look, Seth Garland saw it. He said, this is a good deal for us. I'm getting $15,000 on this land. Now I'm getting, what is it? We know it's a couple $1 million, out there, on those pieces of property.
But let me just add in here, just specifically, that money goes into a separate account. It's identified separately. It's kept separately. It's shown on our financials separately. It's audited separately. There's a full accounting for that shows that has not gone in to pay this bonus, and it's being used for the purposes for which it was stated. And that can be audited. It's there. It's clearly there. I don't know what we have in that account right now. I'm going to guess that there's about $800,000 in that account, and that's used for the purposes of which Paul said. Some of it goes into infrastructure, it goes into environmental maintenance, it goes into all those things for which it was originally appropriated, and it is never commingled.
The other point is...
So that was going to be one of my follow-ups, the 20%, because I remember having significant discussion on that and concern that the 20% would go into operational costs. But I've seen some of the financials, and I see that, and I just need to tell you that that's one thing that's bothering me. But the people, our constituents, keep bringing it up that pilot money is proposed to the IDA, and you're telling me it does not.
Wayne, I'm going to represent you. We know each other well. By law, we have to turn it over, except for the 20%. Anytime we get a pilot money, they have to pay us, and we turn around and give it to them less than 20% if where we've gotten the approving resolution. So none of that really goes to support our operation. And remember, guys, this infrastructure is expensive. It's really, really expensive. And again, notionally, no developers would come to Greene County and make the investment. That's where we found ourselves. I mean, we morphed into it. I think it's the right, I believe it's the right approach. And I think we've been a very good fiduciary for the school district. I mean, Seth Garland, if you were here, I spoke to him today. He would tell you that he's proud about what we've done. I mean, we want to do this, replicate this all over the state. I mean, I think with GSK, can you imagine going to Lisa Gillick and say, by the way, Lisa, $885,000 out of your budget, how are you going to plug that? That's a bad day. I mean, I represent the town of East Greenbush. We had a bonded farm. I understand what that is. That's a bad day. We don't want to go there. So to the extent, I think one thing we're seeing in this world right now is life is kind of fluid, tough times. So to the extent that you can keep investment going, keep it happening, it works off your attrition. And to the extent you're not moving forward, you're moving backwards. Wayne, I'm sorry, I'm preaching.
Yeah, well,
sorry, be quiet.
Yeah, what I'm trying to do here is clarify some issues that we've been faced, and that was one of them,
Okay.
that I've seen out there. Now, the operational budget and cost of the budget, salaries, so forth. You alluded to some fees on there, and I've got a rough estimate, about $259,000 in fees that you had up there.
That was for the budget.
Well, no, that was for the 3 deals.
That was 2008.
Yeah, that was,
Those, just for those 3 deals.
are those one-time fees?
The one-time fees.
Okay. Is that the money that's used for the operating budget, salaries, benefits, and
Yes.
so forth?
Yes.
That's the money?
That's our only real money. I mean, you know, that's our money.
Okay.
I mean, and you know, these functions are expensive.
But I'm just talking about the operational costs. I'm talking about salaries, benefits, and so forth. No money's taken from pilot. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, sir.
And no money is taking from the $3 million investment, the land money?
That's still in place.
That's-
It's still in the ground. We have $12 million of value still left to sell out.
And if you sell a piece of land, let's say for $240,000,
We used it first to pay off debt, because remember, we had your
Right.
$3 million, and then we had $3 million really doesn't get you a whole lot. Okay, I don't want to be arrogant. $3 million doesn't get you a whole lot in the development business. You have to leverage that with a bank loan. We had a bank loan.
right?
We had to issue a bond. We had our partners in this community, we had banks that would buy our paper, we had to pay the debt off. And the rest goes, and we have a park fund.
And I have one final question. You were recently visited by the Public Focus Group. Have you got a report back from them yet?
We have not. And we will, when we get that report, we'll make it available to this board. But we want to meet with the committee of the legislature appointed by you and start working through the issues, because I want to make sure, now look, this isn't really productive to where we need to be. I mean, look, we're derivative of you. I've had the great experience of working with Frank, Doug, yourself, Carol Stevens. We want to continue that positive vein. Because again, we have to keep our mission. I mean, again, if you want the mission, if you believe in what we've done, is that where this county wants to go? Do we want to have jobs, investment, taxes, so we have job employment for our children? If you believe in the mission, then the question is, we have to work together as to how we're going to go forward. You know, and I'm pledging to you, Mr. Chairman, you know, I'll do that with you. You know my number, you call me anytime, I'm happy to talk to you anytime. You know that.
Okay, somebody else have questions?
I do. Mr. Goldman,
That's Paul.
at what point in time did the board go to a bonus compensation?
I think I don't really remember, it was 2002, right?
It was 2003 or 2004.
I believe when the contract was drawn up in 2003, I think that I looked back in the minutes and I made the motion. Included in that contract was a bonus if we saw it necessary. You know, in other words, at that time, we were allowed to start paying a bonus.
And again, the bonus was derivative of the opinion of the controller allows you to set up established criteria in advance, evaluate those criteria at the end.
I'm familiar with what you've done. And I'm trying to get a background of how a bonus compensation situation started. And why was that so? And looking at the executive director's job description, and then on the next page, functions not covered, and I guess I have to try to understand if the functions, who authorized the director to